what I see a lot of business owners doing by default is we've all been trained to make your offer at the end, but that's when the least amount of people are watching.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to create a system following the same exact template where you're hitting the psychological factors, but you're also getting your offer in there to make sure that you grab that viewer who may never turn on your video again. If you get them on your email list, I mean, your video just served its purpose.
Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. I've got what I would call a selfish one today. I want to learn from this guy, and I know you will too. I know you absolutely will also. I want to welcome Owen Video to the podcast. He's the founder of Accelerate Us Media. He's an advisor to TubeBuddy and VidIQ and a consultant to brands like Dropbox, Oracle, North Face, and more. He's an expert in YouTube and video for business, as well as brand messaging and conversion rate optimization. Owen, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me, man. I've been excited for this interview. I keep looking at my calendar. I'm like, hey, when are we doing that? When are we doing that? So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I think there's a massive gap between my listeners and my clients and what you do. I think we need to bridge that today. So I'm excited about that. You've been a purveyor of attention for quite some time now, commanding it for yourself and for your clients. What do you feel is kind of that most consistent ingredient that is commanding millions of views?
You know, man, what a great question. Like, how do we command attention for our videos? Number one is you have to be very clear on your message and who you are as a company, as an individual. But two, you got to be really clear on who your audience is. Now, when I say audience, that's when business owners, entrepreneurs, especially over that 7-figure level, they start to roll their eyes because it's like, hey, I'm not Mr. Beast, right? Hey, I'm not Ryan Trahand. And if you don't know these names, these are names that our kids probably know. You know, I know that my kids are always like, hey, Dad, can you come down and watch the Mr. Beast video with us? And I love watching Jimmy. Jimmy's somebody I've worked with a couple different times and actually know him from the Vid Summit community. But as business owners, this is my specialty, right? We work with companies. We work with brands. And how do you present yourself on YouTube in a way that gets thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of video views, but those video views convert to your email list, your product, or your service? That is all about matching your brand message with your audience. What business owners do is they focus on the customer. And when you're doing that, it's like playing a game of darts, but you're only aiming for the bullseye every single time. And that's not how you win at darts. How you win at darts is by making points all over the dartboard. And when the time is right, that's when you go in for the kill. So we help brands recognize that their audience is actually their customers 3 years before they buy and 3 years after they buy. And when those two things align, every video you make will get results that are worth the money and the time that you put into it.
I love that. I love that concept because, I'm a prime example of it, not through video and YouTube, but through masterminds and relationships, And so when I actually started consulting and I shut down the sales org and I went full-time consulting, I had a full year of social equity, at least in my sphere of influence.
Yeah.
I had a full year of social equity of putting value into the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then by the time I said, hey, you guys can hire me now, I had people lined up,
That's it. That's it right there. I love what you just said there. It's like you're warming up your audience like a thing of popcorn, man. Like you can't just open up a bag of popcorn. You know what I mean? It's got to go to the microwave. It's got to simmer a little bit, and and things start to happen. And then as things start to happen, it's an avalanche. They're ready for you. And so I love what you just said there.
100%. Okay, so let's kind of bring it down to ground level here a little bit. So mainly what I've been consulting for lately is home service based businesses, right?
Yes.
And so AC companies, roofing companies, solar companies. And so when it comes to, all right, they want to get on YouTube, they want to get the views. What do you see working in terms of, all right, I've commanded attention, maybe I've put some equity into the marketplace, and now it's time to convert.
Yeah.
What changes does the video change? Does the call to action change?
Yeah.
What's kind of that thing that changes at that point to, hey, we need to make some money from this, this investment we've been putting into YouTube?
I started in home services. That's sort of my background. I was originally a retrofit window salesman, and then moved into siding, like vinyl siding and stuff like this. I was a Tin Man. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie Tin Man, but that was my vibe, man. And that was my game. And what happened was I was in this place where I was really tired of driving out to a house to do an estimate on their 25 windows, and they were not interested in seeing me at all. They may not have even been at the house when I got there. So I drive all the way down to LA, and then next thing you know, it's like they're not even at the house, right? And what I realized is that the leads were bad. The leads were not set up properly. And that's where I began to develop my 3-part sort of prospecting method, which is what we call the P3 content strategy. Okay. So push, pull, and POW. Okay. So push content. This is content your audience doesn't know they need. They're not looking for it. No one told them they need it. But when you make it and they see it, they go, wow, that's interesting. And most companies, home service especially, are not doing this. It's only sales content. So it's for the bullseye. Now, pull content. This is where you're pulling your audience in from search terms and trending topics. Absolutely valuable. These are, how to get a new AC. How much does an AC cost, right? Answering questions your audience is already asking. And so now you got these 2 different types of content. You got push content, which is making them say, oh man, this is pretty interesting. And then you got pull content that they're searching for. And that's when you hit them with POW content. POW content is you hit them hard, you make an offer, and your whole intention of that video is not to make them think you're interesting, and it's not to hit a keyword. It's straight up to introduce them to your product or service. Typically, we do this with like a live stream video, or we might have a retargeting ad that is going out to people who have already watched your other videos. So looking at that strategy, again, I relate it to the dartboard, right? You don't just go after the bullseye. You've got to hit 20 3 times. Then you got to hit the 17 3 times. And then it's now to hit the bullseye. So what changes about the messaging? Well, for a lot of us, you're not doing push and pull. So you can't just change your message and think it's going to turn into sales. You've got to have a warm, simmered up audience. And so that might be kind of the precursor to the question. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the client should already have trust in you. They should already know you. And then the offer that you make them needs to be sort of the first time they've heard that offer, right? Like if you're coming in and you're like, we'll do your windows, or HVAC, you are a salesman to them. So they were expecting the message. But when you do a live stream and you maybe do it once a month, and in that live stream, you offer a discount, you are offering an add value, you are offering free installation, or maybe like beat a competitor's price. That's the thing that's going to throw them over. So it's a diversified content family where by the time you make an offer, they've already been kind of waiting for you to make that offer. But if you make the offer every single time, they're numb to it, right? Now, little caveat is PDF guides and ebook offers. I'm a big believer in this. It sounds a little 2004. Don't get me wrong. And I get that, but you should be building an email list, and an email list is like its own social network, right? And so when you're
Yeah.
you're posting on Facebook, you post in a way that your Facebook people would respond. But then
Mhm.
when you post on Instagram, you post in a way that your Instagram people would respond. It's the same with email. So we definitely want our clients developing email lists and making an offer in like a cadence. This is where people struggle though, bro, because
Mhm.
they're like, I want to make an offer every day. I need sales today. I need sales today. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
if you need sales today, what were you doing 90 days ago? Right.
Right.
So
Exactly.
when the client sees this offer that was designed for June, or it was
Mhm.
designed for April, right? That's when you get people to respond. And so sometimes making an offer, like delaying the offer to warm up the audience, it's almost like the answer's in the question. If you're not getting sales from your offer, it's because they weren't warmed up. And if your audience is warmed up and they're not buying, it's because you haven't made an offer. So having that cadence back and forth is really the trick to making results happen.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and I probably wouldn't have came around to it until I joined the groups the last couple of years, right? And I kind of saw people executing really well on this because it was always I mean, I was a sales over for 13 years.
Yeah.
We literally did direct sales, like
Yeah.
impulse sales. And so I can appreciate the simplicity of being able to knock on someone's door or call someone's phone and
Absolutely.
and close them right then and there. But at some point, you've got to be able to have a more passive way of getting new customers, right? And
Pipeline.
so I think, yeah, pipeline, exactly. So I think a lot of companies are built for the direct sale or built for the let me put an ad out, get a response, close the sale,
Yes.
set an appointment, close it in a home, whatever the case is. And so whenever they enlist your services and they want so bad to change the type of leads that they have coming in, because I would imagine after you prime them, there's stronger leads coming in, and you're probably the only one on their call list because you've been priming them for a while now.
Yeah.
And so, business owners want that, but how do you kind of, once the owner says, I'm in and spends the money on your services or spends the money on video or this, I guess more long-term type of marketing, who in that company kind of continues to bridge that gap for them?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know how it is, they buy the service and then they walk away and keep doing what they were doing, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's so
And
hard to
so
get.
how do you make sure yeah, and I'm speaking to home service owners right now because they're probably wondering, "Well, I paid for it and it didn't work,"
Yeah.
And the chances are they paid for it and they didn't continue to execute on it. They didn't
Yeah.
continue to communicate with the company, or they didn't continue to put the content out or have that key person in the company. So where do you find this working the most, where somebody enlists you for your services? Do they have a key person in the company that you're able to like work with and kind of get those action items taken care of?
Yeah, there's typically the owner of the company wants to be the face of the company, or the marketing person wants to be the person in the video. But we're
Okay.
actually we're making videos right now for a modular home builder out in
Okay.
somebody you may even know, as a matter of fact. But they're in Europe right now, and so we're doing a bunch of videos without any faces in it, and they're informative videos done with voiceover and AI tech. So you don't always have to have a face to your company, right?
That's that's interesting to me because does that mean that the same way, you can reuse good ad copy and you can reuse good ad graphics, you can reuse good videos like that for other home builders? Or is it more you're doing it to where it's all right, you own this now?
Oh man,
I
that's a
mean,
great question. Yeah, what and now I'm
yeah.
like, like pulling in my bag of tricks here, but yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Man. Like if it like, and in fact, the same thing that we're doing for the modular homes company, we've done for HVAC
Mhm.
companies before in the past as
Very
well.
cool. Okay.
So there's models that work, right? Like for example, you've seen the show Seinfeld, right? It's an older
Yeah,
show, but everyone
absolutely.
knows Seinfeld. Well,
Yeah.
Seinfeld and The Office followed the exact same model. And here's that model,
Mhm.
right? You turn on an episode of Seinfeld and it's Jerry Seinfeld doing stand-up. And in
Yeah.
that stand-up, he makes a joke. It's more or less unrelated. You don't have to watch the beginning to understand the show, right?
Right.
The Office worked the same way. You'd open up and they're doing parkour in the office, and it's kind of unrelated to the show, right? But it's a psychological tool here to tell the audience the show is starting in 2 minutes. And you're hearing it's called the cold open. Now, what happens after the cold open? The show begins and you hear a familiar rhythm, a familiar beat. You did that same thing in this show. You opened up the show with a bumper that has music and visuals that the audience knows. Oh, Doug's show is starting, right?
Yeah.
So we want to apply those same principles to YouTube. In fact, we say all the time that YouTube is your Netflix.
Okay.
What you want to do is apply this model to your business where you open up the video with a strong connective line that tells the audience what you're all about, right? So how about a question, right? Something like, are you tired of your window? Are you tired of drafty windows? Now, all of a sudden, this passive viewer is kind of like, well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're paying attention. Now, keep in mind, this is how we view video. You view video with your finger up, right? And so you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you right? And
I never thought about that. I love that so much.
Right? So
it's my thumb. It's my thumb for me.
Okay, there you go. So my dad, when I was a kid, we had remote controls right back in the day. So my dad would kind of like next, football game's on, and he puts the remote down. Now we do the same thing with our fingers, with our thumbs, right? As soon as you get the viewer to go, yeah, I am kind of interested in that. Now you've sort of got them. And then after that, what we like to do is a 3-second bumper that's just like, welcome to the show, bing, bing, bing. Now, why do we do that? Is that necessary? It's not. I mean, it's psychological, because what you're telling, you're programming the viewer to get used to your sound. So we do not use stock sounds. We do not use stock footage, because you might be triggering. This is so key. You might be triggering them to think of something else, another company that's using that audio. So we're very careful not to use the same audio that people are using over and over and over again. By following a template, you are greatly increasing your chances of the viewer watching your video 60% of the way through. Keep that in mind. Your goal is not 100% retention. It is impossible. No one, I mean, you might, let's say not no one, you get a certain percentage that watch the video all the way through, right? But most people are going to watch it till they hear what they needed to hear. That's key. So you're front loading your content with the information they need to move them to the next step. That might be an opt-in guide or another video. And after that, you're in bonus time, right? So now at the end of it, you might want to answer questions. You might want to go into some FAQs and something that's a little bit more generic. You're just trying to get to the end of the video, knowing that you already got your message out. What I see a lot of business owners doing by default is we've all been trained to make your offer at the end, but that's when the least amount of people are watching.
That's fair. Yeah.
You want to create a system following the same exact templates where you're hitting the psychological factors, but you're also getting your offer in there to make sure that you grab that viewer who may never turn on your video again. If you can get them on your email list, I mean, your video just served its purpose. And so following the template is, and I don't care if you're home services, I don't care if you're e-commerce. We've uploaded thousands of videos. I might say I've uploaded more YouTube videos than anybody out there. We've been uploading videos for 13 years. And the reality of the situation is that the systems and the models work, but you have to work it.
Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. And I love what you said about you don't make the offer at the end, because that's when the least people are going to be watching it. It makes so much sense. And now that I think about it, when I see, videos that have a lot of views or content creators that have strong followings, it's typically, like you said, it's the hook and then it's the intro to them, right?
Yes.
and maybe like a 3 to 4 second, I do this, and so make sure you subscribe
Yeah.
if you want more information on this,
Yeah. We
and then
write
they
that
go
out.
into the specific video.
That's it.
Yeah.
We write that out for our clients, and we actually have them rehearse it to us. So it's like you come into
Mhm.
my company, and it's like we're going to write out your value statement. We try to wrap it in a mission, right? And this is again where people struggle because it's a marketing expense, and you come in and you're like, well, I'm spending money on this. I need an ROI. It's absolutely true. We focus on the ROI, but your ROI is a result of doing the work, right? It's like, don't complain about results you didn't get from the work you didn't do.
Right.
You got to come out here and say, it's like, look, working with a roofing company recently.
Mhm.
You are not trying to sell roofs today, but you are committed to making sure every American has a roof over their head. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Owen Video, and on this, we're going to be talking about which tile is best for your roof, because we are on a mission to make sure every American has a roof over their heads and can sleep securely tonight with their families. Now, today I want
Totally.
to talk about tar versus ceramic or whatever. When you
Yeah.
bring your viewer into this bigger mission, I'm telling you, bro, like business owners struggle with this. It's almost like I want the sale or I don't want to make the video.
Right.
But when you're on a mission that people can connect to, they choose to do business with you instead of the guy who sent the mailer to them, right? And because the mailer just gave them a 30% discount, whatever, you're going to give them the same discount, but
Yeah.
you have a mission that they can connect to. And that's the important part. We a lot of our clients do advertise in the mailers as well. And we have them put QR codes on their mailers so that the viewer can connect to videos and see and hear from them before they do the in-home appointment.
I love the pivot point because it happens. Most of these home service companies have been doing very specific call to action type advertising at this point, or video, and now they have the funds. Now
Yeah.
they have the funds to make an investment in their company
Yes.
that's going to bring them a return long term. You know, and so this is a good pivot point for them to engage in something like this. And so, speaking of mission, right? Bringing up that mission of things. When did you kind of know, like, hey, this is what I was meant to do, or this is what I want to do?
Yeah.
I know there's a story behind that.
Yeah, it's a story I love to tell, and maybe not one that everyone can connect to. But
Hmm.
I grew up in Los Angeles, first of all, and so in LA, everybody wants to be in Hollywood, and my dad came home one Christmas with a video camera and a Nintendo. And I played the Nintendo for about 15 minutes, but I played with the camera for about 15 years. And so I
Wow.
always had a camera in my hands. But high school graduation happens, the reality of the cold world hits you, and it's like, man, I got to get myself a job, right? Like I
Mhm.
didn't want to be a starving actor or starving director. Like I wanted to make my mark in the world. Well, I struggled, man. I got into in-home sales. In-home kitchen table sales, man. I was selling windows, I was selling siding.
Yeah.
Number one industry for drug use and alcohol abuse is that industry. And I was a victim to that. Like I fell into making a bunch of money and then partying really hard. And my life took
Yeah.
some turns. I was introduced by my girlfriend to the concept of God. And
Mhm.
she began to tell me that there was more to life than just making money and trying to survive. And she had given me a DVD to watch about the person of Jesus Christ. And I watched that video, and my life was changed that night. They're showing, I'm watching this video in my house, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm having this like major spiritual experience here. And at the very end, they say, pray this prayer. And at that moment, I prayed the prayer. I even rewound the DVD to make sure I prayed it right.
Read it
'Cause
right. I
like
love
I
that.
didn't know. It's like, is it like a recipe? You got to say it the right way. But
Yeah.
as soon
Yeah.
as I surrendered my sovereignty to the Lord,
Mhm.
I had a spiritual experience that some would call I was born again. And I woke up the next day, and I'd committed my life to Christ and to video. And I wanted to change people's lives the way my life was changed by a video. Now, fast forward, the video was made by a guy named Joel Kramer, who has a phenomenal YouTube channel called Expedition Bible. He's a documentary filmmaker and inspired me to make films. So I began to make short Christian skits, and I made a skit called The Sin Collar. It was fantastically viral on YouTube. It's still up on YouTube today. A lot of knockoffs have been made and whatnot, but I began to make these like Christian comedy skits, and it hit me one day because at this time I'm sort of still floating around career-wise, and it's like, how do I turn video into a career? Like, I was trying to go viral on YouTube. We made exactly 3 cents from that video. So it wasn't much of a career. And then it hit me. The gold rush was not about digging for gold. It was about selling shovels. So I picked up my video camera and I went door to door in business parks and communities in downtown San Diego. And I offered people video for $20 a pop. And I had the video in my hand. I would wear a fishing vest. It's so crazy, bro. Like, I had a fishing vest and I would put film in the fishing vest, right? I wanted to look like a director.
Yeah.
So I put film in there. Now, we weren't using film. We were using cards, right? SD cards.
Yeah.
The 50-year-old business owner of the local karate studio didn't know that. Like, he
didn't care. You were just signaling to them that you do film, you know?
And I walked in there with my camera and I would say, look, I'll do a video for you right now today for $20. They either took it or they'd be like, well, can you come back tomorrow when my wife's here? I said, I'll come back tomorrow, but it's $100. And I sold $20 videos all day long. We did 6 figures in our first year.
Wow.
And that began the snowball. It's like, hey, can you come back and do more? And can you upload these to Facebook? And we got into the digital marketing space. I started to educate myself on how funnels work and how to create offers. Now, keep in mind, I already had this in-home sales skill. You know what I'm saying? But this really threw me over. And you're showing our shorts offer now, like this funnel system. When I talk about conversion rate optimization, as much as I love video, I want people to take action from my video. And so I got really into what color buttons to use and like 2-column versus 3-column websites and these different things that I really enjoy about the process. And so I love how you're managing this stream, bro. Like, you're crushing it, man. You're like a DJ.
Well, it's not me. It's my producer.
Oh, you got a producer back there. Now, fantastic.
Yeah, he's behind the scenes handling all this. That's L. He's doing a great job too.
You know, we did, so I host the Vid Summit conference, which is Mr. Beast conference. And I've been hosting for 9 years. I've been working with that company, The Chosen, for a long time. I do a lot of events with them. Live streaming was our thing. And I've got a producer and I've had a producer for years. He's now my number one. He's number one in the company next to me. And this is what it's all about, man. It's like creating video for the experience of the viewer. If it's just you and me talking, that's one thing. That's an audio podcast. But you're putting stuff on the screen. You got an opening bumper. Like, that's the type of thing that really gets you to that next level. So it's exciting to see that.
No, it's a lot of fun too. You know, we've done, I think this will be like episode 297 or 298, something like that. And, you know, for the most part, I've always had a producer, so I've been spoiled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there was a couple months, probably about 30 days ago, where I didn't have one, and I was doing everything myself, and I got pretty good at it. Like, I got good at managing everything, but you could tell the clips would come out, the short form clips and everything would come out, and you could tell I was distracted because I was over here setting stuff up.
Look at it, yes, and exactly.
Been there,
man. I've definitely been there.
And the guest is saying something really cool that I should have been paying attention for. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I love having a producer. I love the concept of showing up, not even having to hit the record button and being fully present. I mean, I think that's
you said producer too, because that's the right word, right? You know, I think this is the role of the future, is a producer, is someone who's, I think we have a mutual friend, Mitch Smedley, who's a plumber. He's got, he just hit 10,000 subs on his YouTube channel.
He's a beast. Yeah.
Oh man. And he hired a videographer to follow him around and to put together his content.
Yeah.
I've seen, I worked with a plumbing company. They're huge now, but when I was their first consultant, and
Okay.
I was working, man, what are they? Twin Brothers Plumbing. So now they're
Mhm.
millions of subscribers and they're huge. And this is something that I
Mhm.
really enjoy, is like working with these guys when they're new. But when I worked with them, they were all about like my nephew. I'm going to hire my nephew. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
does not work, man. Your nephew will
Yeah.
cancel on you in a heartbeat, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it, right?
Yeah.
When you hire a producer who can do your live streams, your recordings, but also like make sure the video gets to the editor and gets on the web,
Mhm.
that ROI, that feedback loop is, you're going to get there so much faster. And so I really encourage, like, you've got to find someone in your company or bring someone in, even if it's a 1099 situation,
Yeah.
to get that done for you, because you'll get there faster.
Heck yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the person filming is not always the person that should be editing. Person
Right.
editing is not the person that should be producing, you know? And so it's definitely video is underappreciated because you know you can outsource overseas as far as editing goes. And so
Yeah.
everybody thinks, oh, just shoot the video, drop it on a drive, let them edit, and that's it. And there's so much more to it if you want to do it the right way. And I've been guilty of it too, where I hit that autopilot and
Yeah.
stuff's just coming out, and then I realize my message is being lost because there's no creative direction,
Yeah.
you know?
All it
And
takes, that's so good, man. All it
yeah.
takes is 10 videos that get 14 views. And I see this happening in our circle. I see a lot
Mhm.
of these guys, they'll hire some VA,
Yeah.
and they crank out a bunch of videos that go nowhere, because look, any schmuck can edit, man. My kids
Yeah.
are 5 and 7. They can edit. Uh,
Mhm.
you need to craft a message, and what I think our company does uniquely is that we provide you with the producer. Like, we have the producer that you can hire. We have the
Right.
the editor that you can hire. We even have videographers that you can hire. Your
Mhm.
videographer should never be your editor. That's like a hard and fast rule. Now, look, not everybody follows that rule, because they
Yeah.
hired
There's
someone.
hybrids.
Yeah,
They're rare, but
but it's
they're out there. Yeah. It's rare. Yeah. 100%. I couldn't agree more. Okay, so what are you guys doing right now that you're kind of excited? I mean, first of all, you're in a business. The algorithm's constantly changing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? The what people want constantly changes. Like the way YouTube pays out, the way advertising works.
yeah.
Like I feel like you are in one of the most mobile landscapes ever. Like you're constantly having to
Constantly
adjust.
moving, shifting. Yeah.
And you know, versus like my business, you know, I'm building sales programs and they're pretty concrete. The only thing that may be changing year to year is uh the prospecting strategy,
Sure.
right? Because now, you know, now maybe we're incorporating YouTube. It's
Yeah.
something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So now we've got to receive those candidates differently. How do you stay on top of all this I mean, you're hosting the Vid Summit, so you get, you know, all the latest and greatest. At the same time, I feel like if all I did was listen to people on stage, then I wouldn't know if stuff
Oh,
really worked. I would just try it and probably not do it well, you know what I'm saying? So I
okay.
would imagine you have your own internal process of research and development and kind of seeing what strategies are gonna work best for your clients.
Yeah, we do. I think the and you bring up a great point, right? About staying on top of it. Number one, we practice what we
Mhm.
preach, right? So
Okay.
let me answer the questions. What are we doing right now that I'm excited about? Shorts and reels.
Yep.
Shorts and reels are the now. They're not the future. They might not even be there tomorrow, but they're
Right.
working now. And here's what we need to be taking advantage of as business owners, entrepreneurs, is if it's working now, make gains with it now, right? Because we don't
Mhm.
know where the trends are going. The trend next year could be something else entirely that we're not set up for. But I see a lot of people kind of going, "Wow, him and shorts are just this new fandangled thing, and I'm not going to waste my time." And that's the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
You could bust out what our clients are doing, or we're filming 24 SEO shorts in 45 minutes. Now let's break that down. 24 shorts is 2 shorts per week for 12 weeks. That's an entire quarter. So in 45
Mhm.
minutes, you're getting out an entire strategy that can go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. That is huge.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn just reintroduced the shorts player because they stepped into it 2 years ago and they stepped out of it. They're coming back into it. So taking advantage of shorts and reels is the best use of your time. Will you get customers from that? You're going to get customers from your 6th or 8th short, not your first one, right? And it's certainly not going to be your sales short, right? It's going to be, hey, Doug shows up every Tuesday at 9 a.m. He's in my newsfeed.
Yeah.
Right? He's educating me. I'm going to call this guy, right? So that's something that we really love. How do we stay on top of things? By publishing videos ourselves. You know, I recently saw a conference that happened, and I knew 90% of the people that spoke on stage, and half of them I don't think belonged there. It's like, wait a minute, here's a guy who doesn't, and it's not a jealousy thing. I want to be really careful here. Like, oh, I deserve to look. I speak all over the place, and I'm perfectly happy.
No, it's fair, because I think what you're about to say needs to be said to a degree. I think people throw stuff up on social media and Facebook and want coaches to be the end all be all and have done everything and this and that. But I think what you're getting to is there needs to be some, experience and credibility coming. There needs to be some proof of concept. So go ahead.
How could you be a sales coach if you're not making sales, right?
100%.
You've got to be in there making offers yourself, and we have multiple channels that we run from. We have a health and wellness channel. I'm a health and wellness sort of, I don't want to say expert, but it's a very, I have a whole
passionate about it.
Very much so. Yeah. And we like to serve doctors and wellness professionals. And so we built a channel to tell our story and attract those people into our marketplace. So by uploading videos that are long form, short form, and live, we're able to actually get real results that we can say, hey, this is working or that's not working, right? I'm not going to go to my client and be like, oh, well, Gary Vee said to do this. Now, I've met Gary. He's a great guy, but like, I don't know that that's going to work for you unless I do it. I'm out there and I'm actually in the space. What I see is a lot of like, armchair experts that heard someone speak, that read someone's ebook, and now they're coaching that as their own content. And look, I'm not here to tell anyone else how to live their life. I'm very much a freedom guy. I'm an advocate, though, for the entrepreneur community, because I believe that we, not the government, is the future of this country. I believe the business community is what's going to turn things around in this country, not some government employee, right? So we have to be walking the walk and talking the talk. And I'll tell you what, man, I fall on my face, man. I uploaded a video today, got 10 views in 3 hours. So I took that ish down, right? It's like, hey, it didn't work. Let's not do that again. Now, I have time, money, and resources to do that. I learned a lesson so that you don't have to learn that lesson.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. It's kind of like Taco Bell. Taco Bell they're in Irvine. They have chefs that make the tacos, and so you got this chef who like makes this burrito, and it's maybe like digestively explosive. They're not going to put that in the stores, right? Like Taco Bell took the risk for you. And what we do as a company, we have a couple different channels we're experimenting on. And we're seeing what works, and then what works we're bringing to you so that you can do what works and not have to go through that process yourself. We are not 18-year-old boyfriend versus girlfriend prank channels, right? We're not like, let me drop a bowling ball off a bridge and see how big it splashes. That's not what we're doing. We don't have time to play with videos that don't work. We need to do what works, and we need to get the results and move on. So staying in the game, bro, and playing in the game and being able to dust ourselves off and get back up again is, I think, one of the strengths that we bring to the table.
It makes a ton of sense. And, not all views are created equal. There's a reason that The Rock, just hit the most followed man on Instagram, right? Because he is universally liked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not out to be universally liked. I'm out for those likes to turn into dollars. You know what I mean?
I
Which
love that,
you
dude.
could argue,
Yeah.
you could argue The Rock does that, but he's a freaking celebrity. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He's in movies. He's in one of the most universal products known to man. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Sales program consulting is not universal. It's very niche. It's very specific. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
at best, if I share some barbecue, I might go viral. You know what I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
that's just who I am. So
Now let me
uh,
comment on that. We were just talking about this today in our group about
mhm.
the big pool versus the jacuzzi, right?
Yeah,
Like we go out to the pool and it's just one big bacteria soup. You got the old kids, the young kids, everybody's sort of in the pool together, right? This is
right,
the
right.
Rock, that's his playground, right? His goal is to not offend anyone. And
Yep.
by doing that, you appeal to the big pool. Well, look, I'm an adult. I don't want to go in that big pool. I'm going to go over to the jacuzzi where there's a big old sign that says no minors allowed,
Hmm.
right? And who's in that pool? 2 or 3 other adults that are trying to relax and just have a nice, calm, relaxing time. So what we encourage our clients to do, and really any YouTube channel wants to do this, is that YouTube is a big pool where you've got like animal channels and you've got all this stuff. And when you think about like prank channels and Mr. Beast and Ryan Trahan and like all these big creators, it's like you're not competing in that space.
Yeah.
You're competing with the other HVAC companies. That's
Hmm.
your jacuzzi. So you only need to be better than them. You only
Hmm.
need and you actually need to turn other people off. This is called the YouTube branding code. The YouTube
Okay.
branding code states, we call this tribe versus anti-tribe. Who is your tribe and who are you against? Right? So where The Rock doesn't want to offend anybody, and that's how you become mega popular. But The Rock
Hmm.
also doesn't have deep relationships with any of his viewers.
Right.
You want to be in this place where you're like, this is what we stand for. This is who
Hmm.
we are. For us, it's freedom, it's exploration and adventure, and it's family. Like those are the things. Look, I may never be the richest guy in my space. And there are days where it's like, man, I wish I was as rich as Mr. Beast. Like I wish I did have
Right.
all those things. But you know what I do have? I have 4 amazing kids that know that I'm their father. They know who the Hemstats are and what we stand for. And
Hmm.
they know that work is only a tool for the lifestyle we want to lead. And this bleeds out into our videos. We're not into workaholism, man. Like, yes, I
Yeah.
work. I spend because my work's my passion, it's my art.
Yeah.
But we make it very clear, like the workaholism, you're gonna call me at 2 a.m. You're not a good client for me, man. Like that's not who we are. It's not who we serve. But
Yeah.
you're a dad. You're a family. You're someone that wants to build a business and help people's lives. That's the type of person we serve. Money grubber, sensuality, carnalism. That's not
Yeah.
us. Find someone else, right? You've got to be against something. And this is what they never teach you at the conferences, but is a huge part of being successful with a tribe on YouTube.
Right. And being successful your way. I love it. One of the it's funny you were talking about, how you came to God earlier. And one of the prayers that I say every night, and sometimes we get stuck in these like same prayers that we say every night. But one of the same things I say every night is God, give me opportunities in my business to further your work. Give
Amen.
me opportunities in my business to bring more followers to you.
Yeah.
And what I love about saying that prayer is I don't have to do anything. You
Yeah.
did it yourself. You told your story yourself.
Yeah.
And now my followers get to hear that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it could become part of the short form content that we put out and so on and so forth. And I can't even imagine how many people have, let me take another look at this Jesus guy. You know what I mean? Owen
Important to
told
me.
me this story, you
Yeah.
know?
That's so important to me. That's like, I'm not trying to evangelize necessarily
Right.
on my channel or whatever, but I do want to make Jesus look good because he turned my life around and I can't explain it, man. I don't know all the details of how that works, but I do know that Buddhism didn't do that for me. And I do know that the
Mhm.
other sort of faith systems I looked into only resulted in more work from me and more failure from me. And when you just you drop. See, here's the thing: it's like drop a line, right? It's like,
Mhm.
now we're talking about faith, but let's apply it to business too, right? Like, let's say that you are a family man, and you want people to know you're a family man. It's,
Mhm.
say, "Hey, welcome to my roofing channel where I'm a family man and I love my family." Like, that's hokey, and no, people are gonna X
Yeah.
out, right? But
Yeah.
when you go, look, "Hey, welcome to my channel. My name's Owen. I got 4 kids who I love, and that's why I need you to buy a roof from me today." No, I'm kidding around. That's just, okay, come on in. Today we're gonna be looking at tiling and different kinds. It's
Yeah.
one little line. Why?
Yeah.
Because your goal is not to make one video that changes the world. Your goal is to create a library of videos that, when binged watch, create a message in the mind of the viewer that says family man, morality, right?
Mhm.
Politics is a big one. We have a lot of clients today that are really wanting people to know what side of the line, the
Yeah.
political line. They want people to know that, hey, look, I love this country and I want to serve
Mhm.
people who love this country. So you
Mhm.
can do that without waving a Trump flag on your
Yeah.
you can say things. You could just be like, maybe every time you do something cool, you say, "God bless America," right?
Yeah.
Anti-American people don't say that kind of thing. And so once they heard
Mm.
that in one video, and they saw it in another, and then they heard it in another one, all of a sudden they're like, "Man, this Doug guy, like, he's like me." That's when people pick up the phone and call. And they do call. Emails, direct messages, all those things are a thing. But people are still calling. And I'll tell you this, by withholding your phone number, I don't think you're furthering your message. I think that there is a
Mhm.
whole demographic of people with millions of dollars. They're called boomers. Don't even know how to use email. Still, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But they will pick
Yeah.
up the phone and call you. And so like, just drop a line. It's like a little bit of salt, right?
Mhm.
Seasons everything.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I
You're
love
getting
it,
me
brother.
excited. I love these topics, dude. Like, this is kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few questions typically, and since we're talking about the format of the show and everything, I have a few questions typically, but like I'll hear something and I'll be like, man, I want to talk more about that, or I want to dive into that, you know.
Yeah,
And I think it's been a great episode because the alignment's real, because you're dropping tons of value right now. I think a lot of business owners, especially in the home service space, have a ton of preconceived notions about video and what it takes, and it's this just massive undertaking, you know, but it's just doing the same things you're doing in your business now really well that your customers know you for, and recording it
I
and
agree.
putting it out on YouTube, you
And
know?
you know what we do? Look at what you and I have done, right? We have taken,
Mhm.
and I don't know how big your area is, right? I've got
Mhm.
this is kind of like a bonus room in my house, right?
Okay.
And I got a couch over here. My kids have a little editing station over there. And then over here, I've got it's called a hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. So, like I said, I'm kind of a health
Dang.
nut. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's epic. Like, it's my time machine. But
Very cool.
this is probably a 5x5 corner. This
Mhm.
is pipe and drape from a trade show event behind me.
Mhm.
This is a like
Yeah.
that's a vinyl wall behind me. Cost me $25. That cost me $40. We've created little areas that create a world for our viewers. And look, you own a roofing company, we're working with a geothermal heating company right now. We
Very
took
cool.
his little 5x5 area, we turned it into a set where he's got a microphone and a camera all the time. You press
Mhm.
one button and it records, and we use StreamYard. So you don't need uh you don't need a fancy
Crazy
camera.
setup. Yeah.
Yeah, but you sit here and you record your videos, and then your editor adds all the pictures and stuff later, right? Recording
Mhm.
video is easier than it's ever been. Um, and when you step into that, right, people want you to show up because you know what? No one shows up anymore. Everybody wants the easy button. But when you're there every week with a new message for a specific person, you're branding yourself not only as the roof guy, the HVAC guy, but you're branding yourself as the consistent guy, the guy who shows up, the guy who's going
Mhm.
to be there for you. You know how many sprinkler guys I had to call to get one to show up on time?
Yeah.
It's being there for your viewers is more valuable than the production value of the video. So I encourage you guys, like, listening to this, like, set up an area and just once a week, film a message, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
But film that message, show your viewers that you will show up and they will show up for you.
I love it, brother. I can't thank you enough for coming on our show today and just dropping all this wisdom and value and everything. And now I feel like I know you a little better now, and the alignment's even more dialed in. So I'm excited to definitely pass some clients back and forth in the future and get this out there, get this out into the space, because I think more people need to hear this. And if they hear it and they decide, hey, I want to reach out to Owen, I want to learn more about what he's doing for small business owners, where do they go?
Yeah, go to owenvideo.com. That's owenvideo.com.
Okay.
And you'll go right to my website. It's a redirect, but I don't want to, like, that's the easiest way to find me. owenvideo.com. You'll go to my website. You can see what we're about. And I'm everywhere on the web. And so I invite you guys to kind of like check me out. And I appreciate what you said, Doug, because when last time we connected in Dallas, you made that event for me, right? The stuff you were talking about was so high value that I was like, this is the type of guy I want to be around. And so I'm honored that you would have me out here. I'm blessed by the conversation, and I look forward to the next one.
Appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you for that. All right, guys, you heard it from Owen. Let's get building.